Hey everybody, welcome to this weekly update. Thank you so much for joining me. I've had a bunch of new subscribers to my channel recently, so a huge big thank you to everybody that has smashed that subscribe button and is joining me on this YouTube journey. Now in this weekly update, I have a ton of news to cover off. So I've got Windows Server news, I've got Azure Security Centre news, Azure Application Gateway news, and I'm sure a few other things that I've completely forgotten that we'll be covering off during this video. So let's dive in. Now, the first bit of news is around Windows Server 2022, and there's some news around the fact that you can now actually start to deploy that within Azure. So Windows Server 2022 Data Center Azure Edition, the core version, is now in public preview, and you can actually install it on an Azure virtual machine. Now there's a special link you have to use to get access to it within the Azure portal, which is on screen right now. So take a note of that, head over to the Azure portal and start to deploy it and start to test it. It's available in all regions and is receiving hot patches, plus you can use SMB over Quick and also the Azure Extended Network features and functionality that's been released with that edition. Now, the Desktop Experience Edition of Windows Server 2022 Data Center Azure Edition is also available, but it isn't being hot patched at the moment, but it does have the ability to use the SMB over Quick and the Azure Extended Network. So head over to the link on screen right now and have a go, have a play with it, see what you think of Windows Server 2022, and do let us know if you have any feedback or comments around it. Now, the next bit of news I want to cover is around the Azure App Service Environment. Now, the Azure App Service Environment is an Azure App Service feature that allows you to spin up a fully isolated and dedicated environment for securely running your app service apps at high scale. And the team have just launched version 3 of that now, and that's generally available, so it's production ready. With ASE v3, which is what they're calling it in a shortened form, you can customize your application security while Azure secures the infrastructure dedicated to that workload. So definitely check that out if using ASE or Azure App Service Environment is something that you're using. And hopefully version 3 can actually give you some extra functionality, as I know there's been a lot of customer feedback going into the development of that version. Now, the Azure Application Gateway has had a bit of an upgrade in terms of the WAF. So within the Web Application Firewall, there's now a new rule available to test, which is in public preview. So I'm going to read it out because it is a bit of a mouthful and I'm definitely not going to get it all right if I don't. So the Open Web Application Security Project, so OWASP, have released a new rule, which is the Mod Security Core Rule Set 3.2. And that's now available public preview within the WAF for your application gateway. So lots of acronyms there, but definitely one to look at if you're in the security features and having a look and see how this rule set can actually help you in your environment. Now, we've also got another public preview that's available. So Azure AD Privilege Identity Management, so PIM, now is integrated with Azure Lighthouse, so you can use that with that feature. So another great feature for those that are working in the managed partner space, managed customer space, and are using Azure Lighthouse to manage their customer environments. They can now use Azure AD PIM as well with Azure Lighthouse. So yeah, definitely a lot of acronyms in this update. Hopefully you're keeping up, but lots of functionality and features coming along as well. So the next update is around the Azure Security Centre and how you'll see alerts within the Azure Security Centre. Now, recently Azure Defender for Kubernetes was extended so that it could actually protect non-Azure environments, so anything on your on-prem network as well that was Kubernetes. And what the Azure Security Centre team have done is to be able to reflect that, they've changed the alerts that you'll get within the Azure Security Centre for Azure Defender for Kubernetes. So previously it would have been prefixed with AKS to represent the Azure Kubernetes service, but now that Azure Defender is actually looking after more than just the AKS environments, they've actually changed the rule alert, so it will now say K8S, which is the acronym or the shortened version of Kubernetes. So just to bear that in mind and to be aware of that, something that will be happening within Azure Security Centre if you're using Azure Defender for Kubernetes as well in that environment. So yeah, lots of features and functionality in this weekly update. Hopefully you've managed to keep up with all the acronyms and all the different functionalities and all the different things that are integrating with everything. But hopefully this has been useful for you. It's been fun to do this video for you. And if you've learned anything, if you've enjoyed that, please hit that like button and let me know. And leave a comment for me. I'd love to hear from you as well. Stay tuned for more updates, people, and I'll see you very soon.